Folks, welcome back to another episode of The Fallen Badge. Today we're going to look at the murder of Trooper Chadwick LeCroy, Georgia State Patrol. Now, Trooper LeCroy was 38 years old. Now, he had 2 years on with the Georgia State Patrol. He had been in construction for most of his life, and for whatever reason, it just hit him one day. He wanted to be a trooper in the great state of Georgia. Now, he had a wife, he had 2 sons, he had brothers and sisters, he had parents, he had the whole 9 yards. He had everything. It was a short career, but it was a good career from what I read. Now, the suspect in this, he had a career too, but he kept his same career. At the time of this event, he was 30 years old, and in that 30 years, he had a 11-year criminal record. 18 prior arrests. And this will not come as any shock to you, but he should have been in jail the night he killed Trooper LeCroy. But as the justice system seems to do, apathy and incompetency, and it just reared its ugly head. Now, when this shooting occurred, the suspect, he was on bond for some felony charges: criminal attempt to enter an auto, possession of tools for the commission of a crime, cocaine possession, and 2 counts of obstructing a police officer. Now, he failed to appear in court that morning. He had a $19,000 bond, so somebody made his bond for him. Now, my understanding is he was on probation for some other crimes. So now, being arrested for these charges should have put him back in the who's gal. They missed that too. Now, that arrest there had been December 10th, 2010. It's December 27th, 2010. Trooper LeCroy, he's up in the north part of the Atlanta area. Now, he sees a 2007 Mazda 6 cruising along Bolton Road. Now, the resource material seems to vary exactly where on Bolton Road. Some says it was near I-285. At some others says it was Bolton Road and James Jackson Parkway. Somewhere in that stretch of highway, though, Trooper LeCroy, he lights up this Mazda 6. Now, the vehicle initially pulls over, and then the driver of the vehicle, who is the suspect, he decides he doesn't want to talk to Trooper LeCroy. Now, I don't know what the suspect was scared of. True, he had a bench warrant for the court appearance he didn't make that day. He was in violation of his probation. But he'd been locked up 18 times, so he knew they weren't going to keep him in jail very long no matter what he did. So why not just let the trooper come up there and tell you he's going to cite you for that tail light that's not working. Then he's going to find out you're wanted and you go to jail. You'll be right back out of jail, believe me. But the suspect decides to take a different route here, because evidently honesty and intelligence are not hallmarks of this suspect. So now Trooper LeCroy, he is in pursuit of the suspect. Now, they travel about 8 miles. I don't know all the streets they went through, but evidently this was a lively little chase. And I don't know how long it took the dispatchers with the state police to get a hold of Atlanta PD or whoever to tell them there was a trooper in a chase and he needed help. Don't know how close the nearest troopers were, but in any event, finally they on Hightower Road, and they coming up to the intersection of St. Paul Avenue. Now, that's a straightaway right there, so I can't figure out why the suspect lost control. Maybe he just can't drive. Evidently his driving skills may be as good as his criminal skills. In any event, he loses control of his vehicle, and it slides in and it hits a brick mailbox. The house right there on the corner of St. Paul and Hightower. Now the vehicle, the way it's sitting, there's an embankment because the house there sits up on the hill a little bit. So his car is kind of wedged into the embankment, and his driver's door is wedged into that brick mailbox. So his car evidently won't move any further, and he can't bail out the driver's door. Now Trooper LeCroy, he comes around on the passenger side, which would be rightly so. Since the driver's door is blocked, he knows the only way the suspect's getting out is that passenger door. Trooper LeCroy, now, he didn't have his pistol out, and I don't know if it would have made any difference, to be honest with you. Now the trooper's dashboard camera is working, and you see Trooper LeCroy. He's walking up towards the car, passenger side. Now as he starts to get up near the car, the suspect has slid over into the passenger seat, and he opens the passenger side door, sticks a pistol out, he cranks off 3 rounds. Now only one of them hits the trooper. Now unfortunately it hits him in the throat. Trooper LeCroy, he goes down. Now the suspect stays there another minute or so. He's trying to get his car unstuck, and he can't get it to do right. So then he decides he's going to steal the trooper's car. So he goes to the trooper's car and he takes off. Now he doesn't drive just a real long way. I'm assuming he knew this neighborhood, but I don't know. Now he abandons the trooper's car right near Gun Road, near the Gun Club Park, somewhere right in that area, and he gets out on foot. So he's moving along as quickly as he can. He takes that pistol he's got now, the one he shot Trooper LeCroy with, he throws it up on the roof of an apartment. Now it's not too long after that. I'm assuming it was Atlanta PD. But the police ran up on him, foot chase, and they catch him. Now he's got dried blood on his hands, and he's wearing the same clothing as was seen in the dashboard camera in the trooper's car. Now some neighbors in the area, thankfully, they tell the police where that pistol's at. So they get up on the roof of the apartment building and they recover the pistol. Now this sorry no account fella, instead of just taking his probation violation and his bench warrant for missing court, now he's killed a human being, and for what? So now the suspect's facing 9 counts, and that includes murder, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. By the way, that's also a federal offense. Fleeing and attempting to elude police. Now this comes as no shock when I tell you that it took 4 years. But when it's all said and done, they work out a plea deal, and the suspect agrees to take life with no parole. Now that was with the consent of the family. So I think 4 years was enough, and I don't blame him. I would get tired of having to deal with that mess too, especially when you know he's gonna plead that, if not insanity, he's gonna plead ignorance, because his attorney spent a lot of time telling the media how pitiful and mentally challenged his client was. And again, we have somebody that continues to go into the criminal justice system. He seems to be smart enough to commit crime, smart enough to go to jail, but when it comes to taking a human life, all of a sudden they're not smart enough to be executed. Now, Trooper LeCroy, he didn't die there on the scene. He laid there several minutes. The lady, I believe, that lived at that house, she came out She wasn't sure what was going on. She saw the trooper car leave, and she didn't realize there was still somebody down there. And she went down there and she saw the trooper laying on the ground, right there where that marker's at. So they loaded him up in an ambulance. And Trooper LeCroy, he died en route to the hospital. Kill a man over a taillight. Just more bad decisions by people that make a habit of making bad decisions. Trooper Chadwick Thomas LeCroy. End of watch, December 27th, 2010.